Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. I'm your host, Bernadette, and joining me today is Dr. T or Dr. Tajiri. How are you?
Very well. And yourself?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me. Truly honored and blessed to be in your space to share with your viewers, to share with your listeners, and just be able to drop some things that are going to help them unleash.
Awesome. Awesome. Can you tell us where about are you tuning in from?
So I am in Texas, in the big city of Dallas Fort Worth area in the Metroplex area.
Oh, nice. I've been there.
Hot. We'll
It
just say
was,
hot.
I was about to say that it was too hot for me. Yeah, no, I'm not doing it again. It was too
So
hot, so hot. Yeah. How long have you lived there for a while or most of your life?
all of my life. I'm a native
Wow,
Texan, moved throughout the state, but native Texan, so back in the Dallas Fort Worth area now.
that's awesome. That's really cool. So Dr. T, can you tell us more of the work that you do and how do you do it?
So it is really quite simple. And it is protecting profit by protecting the people. And I also am an AI consultant. So literally, AI consulting to help protect profit and protecting the people. It's
Oh,
that simple.
that's awesome. That's really cool. Tell us more. What got you into doing the work that you're doing right now?
So, as that has a focus as far as protecting the profit and protecting the people, that's in the form and in the shape of leadership development and how I got into that space. So, if we'll kind of rewind just a bit so that I can walk you through how the concept came to be and how I am where I am now. So, we're just going to go on a little journey.
Awesome.
I'll call it a yellow brick road journey, and you'll understand how that falls into place as I continue to tell the story. So, I was involved in a direct sales organization for well over 3 decades. And through that, I learned about relationship building, um, team building, and understanding the power of soft skills so that you can embrace those relationships with your team, with your customers, because by all means, I mean, we buy from people that we know, like, and trust. So you've got to build that relationship. Yes, it was a transaction that was happening. However, I focus more on the relationship versus the transaction because I know the transaction would happen once the relationship was actually built. So, from the customer perspective, I really didn't have an issue. But let's talk about the leadership side on that. And my mentor, my director at the time, things were going great. They were wonderful. I was emerging, moving into the top 2%, the top 1% of the organization as far as rising up in my leadership abilities and being able to lead others and help them get to their goals and accomplish them. Well, as I'm moving through this journey, as we know, life happens. And even though we had monthly goals that were set, and I had committed in the beginning of the month to be able to do my part of accomplishing that goal, life happened. And in the mix of life happening, I was not able to do my part. So month end comes, and again, I wasn't able to fulfill my part, and you'll understand the pause
Mhm.
there as I tell you what was told to me. So this is someone that I thought was really breathing life into me, really having my back, really had my best interests at heart. But because I failed that particular time, what was told to me was, "You cost me money."
Mhm.
For powerful words that just sat with me. And that let me know even more so where I stood as far as being a team player, a team member, and the value that I had on that particular team. So with that, coupled with, as I said, I was growing, I was moving into the top 2%, the top 1%. I wanted to examine, or did examine, what were the teams doing that were exceptionally well versus the teams that were just barely getting by. And that's where I discovered it was the relationship building that they had and the camaraderie and the synergy that they had. So, with taking that as far as what I observed and analyzed, and coupling that with those four powerful words, you cost me money, that helped me really understand the power of leadership, the power of your words, and the ability of one in a leadership role and the influence that they have over someone. So, with that, as I said, soft skills and relationship building, I was able to gain, and those were transferable skills that I was able to take with me everywhere else that I went, in every other career, every other job, what have you. I was able to take those skills with me because they were transferable. So, on the other side of that coin, what that looks like is, while I was in corporate America, I worked with a very big airline. It was Continental Airlines, so that lets you know how long ago that was, because they are no longer in existence. I was in the accounts payable department,
Mhm.
and mind you, math was not my strong suit. That was not my gift. You do what you need to do in order to get what you need done. So that's how I ended up in the accounts payable department. And more specifically, I was a purchase card auditor. So my responsibilities were to reconcile credit card statements with the receipts and make sure that everything matched up so that I could close out for the month as it related to that credit card statement. So as I said, those soft skills that were transferable to me, I was able to build relationships with the card holders. So let's say they were walking by my desk and, hey, how are you doing?
Mhm.
John Smith or whatever, whoever they were, hey, how you doing? I know that you said you had a trip that was scheduled this weekend. How was that weekend vacation, that getaway, or the kids had a recital or were going camping or what have you? Just small talk to build that rapport and to build that relationship with them. Now, I wasn't trying to get deep as far as what was going on with the drama as far as divorce or drama between parents and kids or what. I wasn't trying to get that deep. That wasn't my business. I let that stay over there. But I wanted them to know that I did see them as a person and not just as a card holder and someone that I was trying to reconcile their credit card statements with. So because I had built that relationship with them, then whenever they saw my name come across via email or the caller ID, obviously they knew why I was calling, but I was able to get the information that I needed a lot, a lot quicker compared to the other people that were on the team, my colleagues, because I had built that relationship with them. So it's like, there's really something here. I can see where the relationship building was powerful in the direct sales organization. I can see where it's powerful and impactful here in corporate America, and just really honed into that and took it dear to my heart. And one day I was watching one of my very favorite childhood stories, which was The Wiz.
Mm.
And in watching that, because I'm now in a leadership mindset, I saw the movie totally different. Now, of course, we know that that is based off of the movie The Wizard of Oz, and by no means am I shading or minimizing The Wizard of Oz, but because of my background and where I came from, The Wiz was much more culturally appropriate for me.
Mhm.
And with that, I was able to understand it a lot better. And then also, The Wiz was when I was growing up. The Wizard of Oz was far beyond. It was much earlier than my it was older than me. So I wouldn't have really had the opportunity to see it other than within the reruns. So with The Wiz being more culturally appropriate for me, um, and culturally conscious for me, I was able to see things and relate to them a little bit better, actually a lot better. Again, relationships here, you'll see that common theme as I go on. And in looking at The Wiz, it was far much more in depth as far as the lessons that were in it. Same movie, same concept, but it was much deeper for me. And again, I'm now looking at it through leadership lenses versus a child's lens. And in seeing that, I'm pulling so much out of it as far as teamwork, working together. You see Dorothy, who's the team leader, she's a visionary, and she has her team of the Scarecrow, the Lion, and the Tin Man, and they all must work together with their different pedigrees, with their different backgrounds, with their different strengths to be able to get to the wizard so that they can accomplish the goal.
Mhm.
So, in looking at that, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much that can be learned here, as far as how to relate with people. And then also, it's in simplistic form, which is a childhood story. I
Mm.
believe in simplicity because that takes away the gray areas. And when it's put forth in a simple manner, then people can understand it and they can take it and they can go execute on the lessons, on the principles that they learned because it was simplified for them. So that's how the Workplace Wizard came about, and how the Yellow Brick Road, as I mentioned earlier in telling the story, how that all came about. So hopefully that sheds some light into what it is that I do and how it all come to be about and manifest.
Wow, that's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing. I can just listen to you talk because every word you speak, there's power and wisdom, and it's realistic because
Mhm.
what you touch on and what you do is something that all of us experience, whether we are aware of it or not aware of it, because everything, everywhere we go, something, someone is controlling something. It's like a puppet string. We
Mhm.
all somehow are influencing each other, whether we know it or not, and impacting each other, whether we know it or not. And I love that you focus on leadership as well, because without leadership, I'm sure you've seen and other people have seen, without leadership and structure, everything falls apart.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Everyone
And
is
that
everywhere.
leadership
Yeah.
helps. The leadership helps to cultivate the culture. And if people don't feel like they belong, then they're not going to be as productive. They're going to do just enough to keep from getting fired. They're not zealous. They don't have the energy. They just don't want to give that extra or that and then some, because why do it? You don't care about me. I don't feel like I belong on this team. You've helped me get into that space and that place of isolation. And if I'm going to be in isolation, I'm going to just do what I need to do for me to, as they say, when you get on the airplane, put the oxygen mask on yourself first. I'm going to preserve me
Yeah.
before doing anything extra for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I thank you for sharing. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what do you think some of the core pillars of leaderships are?
Great question. And that is actually what I have built my pillars on. So great segue, great segue. And that is vision,
Mhm.
that is courage, that is heart, that is brains, that is knowledge, and then there's also authenticity. So those are my five pillars that I built everything around. And as you can see, it is built around
Mhm.
the Wiz and the characters in the Wiz. So you've got Dorothy again, the visionary. You've got the Tin Man, who has the heart. You've got the Scarecrow, who has the brains. You've got the Lion, the cowardly lion. There's the courage, and then there's the authenticity that comes from the wizard. So if I can just pivot just a little bit as
Yes,
authenticity
please.
relates
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
the wizard, um, he had on this mask, this facade of who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And, people thought that, i.e., Dorothy, Scarecrow, the Lion, and the Tin Man, and everybody else that was in the land of Oz, they thought that he was this great person, this great thing, this great God, this just all of this greatness that was put on a pedestal. But once they got to him, then they realized he ain't all that he's cracked up to be. He's not all that he built the narrative, or that the narrative has been built around him. He's much more humanistic,
Mm-hmm.
if I can use that word. If it's not a word, I've just made it a word, and it's my word. Uh, so he's not all that he was cracked up to be, and that there was that human side of him and something that was behind the mask. So that's why I tie in the authenticity, because sometimes as leaders we don't know everything, and we are just as human as the people that we actually lead. So being authentic, being unapologetic, and being true to thine own self as the leader, and in that authentic place, then you're able to build that relationship with your team, or build those relationships with your team, with your colleagues. And there you have that stronger camaraderie. And when you have that stronger camaraderie, then there's the increase in productivity, there's the increase in efficiency, there's the increase in sense of belonging, and people are able to do more. And bottom line, as I said, protecting the profit for the organization, they
Mm-hmm.
are able to see an increase in their profit. Because if I can be very transparent and be very clear,
Mm-hmm.
the biggest, the largest item on a company's balance sheet is their human resource. And I'm not talking about human resource department, I'm talking about the people themselves. It takes a minimum of 1.5 times a person's salary to replace them than
Yeah.
it does just to actually keep them. So, with that said, that's where protecting the people comes into play.
Yeah.
So, if you give the people a place, again, where they feel like they belong and they want to do, and that they are part of the goal, that they're a part of the organization, you're going to get more out of them. You're going to get more of a team player out of them. So,
Mm-hmm.
now that we've protected the people, we'll be able to protect the profit, and we don't have to reinvest as far as spending that extra minimum 1.5 times the salary to replace them. It's kind of like dating. You do what you did to get them to keep them. So let's operate in that space instead of trying to get somebody new in that we've got to learn all over again. And it just costs too much, and it's too exhausting, for you as the organization, for you as the person that has to do the training. Yes, in the beginning, it's exciting for the new person that's come aboard, but there's still that learning curve, that piece where you have to learn each other all over again so that you can be powerful and impactful.
Mm, thank you for sharing. I definitely agree. Because, yeah, without the people, we can't really do much. And I love that you also talked about relationship. Obviously, we don't mean the relation. I don't mean the relationship that is romantic. I mean,
Exactly.
as a team. Or do you mean that as well?
No, I'm meaning more so, because again, this is leadership. I'm looking at the organizations and the team and the different departments and what have you. That's what I mean as far as building the relationships. But here's the beautiful thing. Remember, I said transferable, because we are all leaders in our own lights in different areas of our lives. So if you're a parent, you lead your children.
Yeah.
If you're husband and wife, there's some type of leadership, and I don't mean this as far as a hierarchy, but typically the man leads the is the leader of the household.
Yeah.
Granted, we do understand that women are right there with them, the wife is right there with them, helping to lead and guide and make sure that the household is together. So here again, you've got two different people that have two different ways of thinking. There may be some synergy and some commonalities there, but just simply because of the way that they're wired, women think about things totally different than men think about things. So you have to come together to work, build that relationship, build that synergy so that you can have a powerful, impactful household that's very productive. And that trickles down to the children and how they are in society, how they connect, how they respond in the school environment, in their extracurricular activities, their social beings. I mean, it just goes everywhere. So there's not a single place where you can't take these same skills, these same ideas, the same framework, and apply them to the different areas of your life. In church, you have your leadership. You've got your deacons, you've got your pastors, you've got your secretaries, or your executive assistants. You've got the leader as far as the different ministries. Even within that, it's an organization within itself. So again, we lead in every aspect of our lives. It's just that that leadership role looks different based off of the environment of where we are.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. What would you say to those of us who struggles with how some people lead? Either they dislike that a specific individual or people or in authority over them. What would you say to them if you were to speak to them based on what they're feeling or experiencing?
First, I'll say an emerald conversation with me, so that we can talk about some strategies to be able to work. Because I'd have to dive a little bit deeper into what the actual situation is, as far as helping that person be powerful, be impactful, and stand up and be noticed within that environment. That would be the first thing that I say. However, for a very generic and general answer to that question, what that's going to look like is, one, not always taking it personal, because a lot of times the things aren't personal.
Yeah.
It's that particular leader is having a bad day. They're dealing with whatever they've got going on at home. Who knows what the children of the kids did something out of line and that morning on the way to drop them off to school. And now that energy is coming across when they step into the doors of the workplace. So one, try to deal with what's on the table and not necessarily take it personal. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes there are some personal attacks. I am not discounting that at all.
Mhm.
Um, but then that's where you, as, if I can use the word subordinate in this situation, knowing what your strengths are, knowing what your gifts are, and letting them speak for yourself,
Mhm.
speak for you, so that you don't have to do as much of the heavy lifting,
Yeah, yeah.
if that makes sense. So if you are great at XYZ task, kill it. Let them see you as the expert, as the go-to person for that particular task. So now, they got to come to you for something. And as we say back in the country, be careful the toes you step on. They might be connected to the butt you got to kiss later. So be so
Yeah.
good at it to where they have to turn around and come to you and ask you for something, whether it be completing the task or a favor or whatever that may be. So since I mentioned favor, let's look at it this way. You have a great relationship with someone in the workplace.
Mhm.
You've got a gazillion different things that are on your plate. But because you have that relationship with someone, when they come and ask you to do XYZ favor, then you'll figure out a way to get it done. And sometimes you'll get it done a lot quicker
Mm.
than waiting till later to what their deadline is, because there's that relationship. Whereas there's someone that you don't have a great relationship with, they come and ask you for that favor or that particular task that needs to be done.
Mhm.
You'll do it because of your character, but there won't be that zeal to go ahead necessarily and get it done. If you get it done, it's like, let me just go ahead and get it done so I can be done with it, get this off of my plate.
Mhm.
Or you'll wait till the 11th hour to
Mhm.
get it done to meet their deadline. And again, you'll do it because of your character, but there won't be that joy
Mhm.
of getting that done. And I know that we are pretty independent in several ways.
Mhm.
We can do a lot of things on our own, but we need each other. We cannot do anything by ourselves. Perfect example of that is, let's say, a farmer. Excuse me, my allergies are having a good time with me today. Let's say a farmer is able to grow his own crops.
Mm.
Yeah, he's independent. He can do that. But guess what? He's got to go get the seeds from somewhere. He's
Mm.
got to go get the equipment or manpower to be able to till the soil.
Yeah.
There has to be some type of irrigation system, whether that be something that they built
Mm.
themselves. But even if they build it themselves, they got to go get the tools to be able to build it.
Mhm.
Have someone else come in and build the irrigation system. Because quite honestly, as much as we love the natural rain and everything, it doesn't always come when we necessarily need for it to, because there's a season for each crop to develop.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So we've got to be able to accommodate for that and make sure that we have the necessary tools in order to have a productive crop.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Yeah. I always, tell people that um be ready to be in leadership because the minute that you're in public eye, anything that involves people, it will challenge you, it will build you up, it's going to tear you down, it's going
Mhm.
to strip off all the masks that people are thought to wear, and it's going to challenge their identity, whether it's as a leader, as a
Mhm.
partner, a parent, female, male, whatever label we want to put at it. And it's going to teach us what true success is like, and also
Absolutely.
failure, faith, and power. All
Mhm.
of it, all of it. Yeah, yeah. So you've been on the O magazine. Is that Oprah?
Yes, ma'am. I was featured in that magazine, and it truly, I was like, Mom, I made it. I made it. I made it. And then later, being featured in New York's Times Square on the NASDAQ Billboard, being featured
Wow.
there, having the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, being featured in media as well. It's like, okay, I'm onto something. People are understanding the power of what it is that I'm
Yeah.
doing. They understand the necessity of what it is that I'm doing, understanding the impact of what it is that I'm doing. So it's like, okay, girlfriend, you're on to something. They are validating that what I'm doing
Yeah.
is needed in the workplace, and they are reaching out to me to say, hey, not only do I see you, but I need you.
Yeah, yeah. I need you too. And I'm so grateful you answered my call to come on the podcast because I love your perspective on leadership and what you do. And I can tell that you do it with passion. It is a calling, it's not
Mhm.
just a job or the next paycheck. This is actually what you're meant to do, and you enjoy doing it, and you do it with excellence. So thank you so
Thank you.
much for
Thank you.
stepping up and for teaching people because we need your work, and we
Yeah,
need you because it's not all fixed yet, and it may never be, but all we can do is our best and learn from the best. So thank you.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I look at leadership as far as um, being a calling, being an appointment,
Yeah.
being an assignment, or an authoritative position. And that's actually part of the first chapter in my book, Power, Privilege, and Humility. unveiling the layers of leadership lessons learned. And that's one thing, because once you understand the perspective of what you think leadership is about, then that's going to shape, that builds your foundation as to how you move as a leader. And doing some executive coaching, it's actually been a couple of weeks or so now, a week and a half to 2 weeks now.
Mhm.
And doing that, it was really great to see those executives say it truly is an assignment.
Yeah.
It's not an appointment, it is an assignment, kind of like teachers. That is assignment. You have to have the gift for that, to
Mhm.
be able to teach and to pour into, and to be able to pour into the students, whether that be in elementary school, whether that be in high school, whether that be in college, whatever the case may be, there is a gift to that. So it truly is, an assignment, and it's
Yeah.
not just something that you're thrown into. And unfortunately, the wrong people do get put into those positions.
Yeah.
It creates chaos.
Yeah.
It creates a toxic workplace. It creates toxicity in every aspect. But when you truly are called to it, as you mentioned, then you understand the assignment and how you must fulfill the assignment so that others are better because you accepted the assignment and they're able to grow in their own right.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're
Is there is there anything else we didn't get to talk about that you'd like to share as we wrap up?
Wow, there's so much to talk about, as it relates to leadership. But I will simply say this: if you want to continue the conversation,
Mhm.
the best way to continue the conversation is to follow me on my social media platforms. And let me just simplify it by giving you my website that has everything there. You can learn more about what I do, how I go about doing it, and follow me on the different social media platforms. And my website is Tajiri, Tajiri.com. Very simple. Tajiri.com. And it'll have everything there that you need
Mhm.
to be able
Mhm.
to reach out to me, to be able to connect with me. You can even book your Emerald conversation, and we can go there and see how I can best help you in the leadership roles that you may have as it relates to being that leader that wants to emerge and wants to move, or being that organization that needs to protect their profit through their leadership development.
Awesome. So, overall, what do you want people who are listening to get out of this episode?
Oh, there's so much, and we don't have that much time. We're running out of time. We're running out of time. Be authentic, be true, and be unapologetic in who you are. Understand your strengths
Mhm.
and focus more on those strengths than the weaknesses. And as you build your relationships, find those people that fill in those spaces where you are weak,
Mm, yeah.
so that there's a stronger union, a powerful connection
Mm,
to be able to do, as I say, two heads are better than one. So if I've got somebody that's strong here and I'm weak here, and then bring somebody else in that's their strengths are where my weaknesses are, then as you see, I've got two hands here that's stronger. I can hold more than
yeah.
I can just with one hand. So if we just simply be true to yourself, and if you can't do it, you can't do it. It is okay.
Mhm.
Uh, and find somebody else that can do that, just accepting that and moving forward. You don't have to be every woman with a super cape, but you don't have to be superwoman,
Yeah.
uh, because once you do that, then you drain yourself and you're no good to anybody else,
Yeah.
because you're trying to do all things and be all things to everybody, and you just cannot do that. If we were all everything to everybody, then we wouldn't have the diversity in the different personalities, in the different strengths, in the different niches. If we were a one man band, we would need all of these other people again.
Yeah.
We need each other.
Yeah.
We can't do anything alone. So that's where I would leave the people. the nuggets, the last little bit of mic drop moment.
Thank you so much. Thank you. One last question for you, which I ask every guest. What is the meaning of life for you?
Mm. That's a simple question, but yet it is so powerful.
Mhm.
So powerful.
Yeah.
Um, the meaning of life for me is being a servant leader,
Mm.
making sure that people have what they need so that they can be successful. And once I see that I have been a part in making them successful and helping them to grow, then I have been fulfilled. Um, the people that are, in my circle, whether it be family, whether it be friends, I just want people to feel better because they have crossed my path. I'm a firm believer in being an energy giver and not an energy taker. I'm sure we can all say that we've been in those places or been around those people where we find out, oh, XYZ, such and such person is here, such and such person is coming, or we see them walk into the room and we're just like completely depleted. And we want to be like Forrest Gump, run, Forrest, run. We want to go in the totally opposite direction of where they are. Whereas on the other hand, you know, certain person is coming and we're like Norm and Cheers. Norm, we're excited to see. We want to go run. We gravitate towards them because they give us good energy. They're good people all of the way around. So, be that energy giver versus that energy taker. Because there's just much more life that's given by being an energy giver. There's just so much energy begets energy.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Energy
Thank you.
begets energy.
Thank you so much. Well, Dr.
Yeah.
T, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. Thank you for everything that you do. And thank you for being you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
You're
welcome.
most welcome.